Aurignacian Culture. Whispers of a lost world. Have you ever wondered what it felt like to stand in front of the very first works of art created by human hands? Imagine stepping into a cave so dark and silent that every breath echoes, and then suddenly your torchlight flickers. Across a wall painted more than 35,000 years ago by people who lived in a world of mammoths, cave lions, and endless ice. What secrets did they leave us in those paintings? And how did these mysterious people known as the Aurignacians shape the dawn of human culture itself? Today, you and I will journey back in time to uncover one of the most extraordinary chapters in human history. A chapter that tells us not just about survival, but about imagination, creativity, and the birth of what we now call civilization. Welcome, my friends. I'm your guide from Whispers of Lost World. In this channel, we don't just talk about history, we breathe life into the past, transforming ruins, artifacts, and forgotten cultures into vivid stories that you can see, feel, and almost touch. By the end of this video, you won't just know about the Aurignacian culture, you'll feel connected to it as if you've walked beside them, hunted with them, stood in awe before their art. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover may change how you see humanity itself. The Aurignacian culture flourished around 43,000 to 26,000 years ago. During the Upper Paleolithic period, spreading across Europe and into the Near East, these people were among the earliest groups of anatomically. Modern humans Homo sapiens II enter Europe, displacing or perhaps intermingling with the Neanderthals. What makes them unforgettable is not just their survival in a harsh Ice Age world, but the way they expressed themselves. They created blades, beads, flutes, carvings, and cave paintings that tell us this was not just a species trying to live day to day. This was a people dreaming, imagining, and building meaning beyond survival. Let's start with the world they lived in. Europe was locked in the grip of the Ice Age. Vast glaciers carved the land. Herds of reindeer, mammoths, and bison roamed the plains, while predators like cave lions and hyenas prowled the shadows. Life was dangerous, cold, and uncertain. And yet in this brutal environment, the Aurignacians thrived. How they mastered stone and bone tools that were far more advanced than anything seen before. Their blades were long, sharp, and efficient. They carved points out of antlers, creating the earliest known spear throwers, which allowed them to hunt from a distance with lethal precision. Every tool was not just functional, but often beautifully crafted, showing a sophistication that hinted at symbolic thought. But what truly sets the Aurignacians apart is their art. Picture this. The caves of Chauvet in France, discovered in 1994, hold some of the oldest known cave paintings in the world, dating back 36,000 years. Lions with flowing manes, charging rhinos, galloping horses, and woolly mammoths cover the walls in striking detail. These aren't crude sketches. They're dynamic, alive, almost cinematic, as if the artist wanted to capture movement itself. Now imagine standing there in the flickering firelight, the shadows making the animals seem to run across the rock. Was this art a ritual? A story passed down through generations? We may never know for certain, but what is clear is that these images represent the birth of imagination. And then there are the figurines. The Venus of Hohle Fels, a small figurine carved from mammoth ivory in Germany, is over 35,000 years old, the oldest known representation of the human form. With exaggerated features, it is believed to symbolize fertility, life, or perhaps the spiritual connection to creation itself. Alongside this, we find delicate carvings of animals, showing a fascination with the creatures they hunted and revered. But the Aurignacians were not only artists, they were musicians. Archaeologists have uncovered flutes made from bird bones and mammoth ivory, the oldest musical instruments ever found. Imagine the sound of a simple melody echoing through the cold night. Fire crackling, people gathered together, their fears and hopes carried in song. Music may have been a tool of unity, of ritual, or simply joy. It tells us that these people did not live in silence. They had voices, rhythms, and perhaps even songs that spoke of gods, hunts, or love. Weaving these discoveries together, we see 5 defining pillars of the Aurignacian world: their advanced tools, their breathtaking art, their symbolic figurines, their music, and their survival strategies. Each of these points shows us not only their genius, but also their humanity. They remind us that culture begins not when we build cities, but when we create meaning. Let us pause here and imagine a story. A young Aurignacian girl stands at the mouth of a cave. Her father is returning from the hunt, his spear tipped with a long stone blade that gleams in the sun. In his hand he carries a reindeer carcass food for the clan. That night, as the fire crackles, the elders carve the story of the hunt into ivory, while a flutist plays a haunting tune that rises into the cave ceiling. Another elder paints a charging horse on the wall, teaching the children that this image carries the spirit of the animal. The girl watches wide-eyed, knowing that tomorrow she will learn to carve her own marks. This is not a fantasy, it is a reconstruction of how life might have been. And in her eyes we see ourselves. The need to tell stories, to create symbols, to leave something behind it is timeless. But the Aurignacians also faced struggles. Their world was not empty. Neanderthals were still present in Europe, and the interactions between the two species remain one of history's greatest mysteries. Did they compete? Did they exchange ideas? Genetic evidence suggests there was interbreeding, meaning part of the Neanderthal story lives on in us today. The Aurignacians may have had an advantage in symbolic thought, in communication, in forming larger groups bound by shared rituals. If so, it was not brute strength that defined the future, it was imagination. By the time the Aurignacian culture faded around 26,000 years ago, replaced by other Upper Paleolithic traditions, they had already changed the course of humanity. Their tools influenced future innovations, their art laid the foundation for human expression, and their myths perhaps seeded the first whispers of religion and belief. Every painting, carving, and song from that time is not just a relic, it is a voice, speaking across tens of thousands of years, reminding us who we are. As we draw to a close, let's recap. The Aurignacians gave us the first advanced blades, spear throwers, and tools that revolutionized survival. They painted the walls of Chauvet and other caves with animals so vivid they still move us today. They carved figurines like the Venus of Hohle Fels and the Lion Man, symbols of fertility, myth, and imagination. They created music, turning silence into song. And they lived in a world of Neanderthals, glaciers, and megafauna. Yet they thrived not just by surviving, but by dreaming. This is the legacy of the Aurignacian culture, the birth of the human mind as we know it. So now I ask you, what do you think drove them to paint, carve, and sing? Was it survival, ritual, or something deeper, a spark of creativity that no one could silence? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you've enjoyed this journey through time, don't forget to like this video. Subscribe to Whispers of Lost World and share it with those who, like you, believe that history is more than dates and ruins it is the story of us all. Thank you for watching. Till next time, keep listening to the whispers of our lost world.